What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Welcome to Science Domain, where we talk about politics and entertainment. And today we're going to be going straight politics, as we are going to be talking about the latest gangster in town, the latest member of the NWA, none other than the mayor of Oakland City, Mayor Elizabeth, aka Libby Scarf. Oh yeah, she is a gangster, as she recently has been called a racist for actually putting out a program to help out black people, but not just black people, but people who fall into a category called BIPOC. Now, what they are planning to do is they want to be issuing out $500 to about 600 families, but in order for you to qualify to be one of these 600 families, you have to be a member of the BIPOC community. Now, if you don't know what that means, BIPOC community simply means Black Indigenous people of color. Now, I don't know why the word or the slogan people of color is not offensive, because back in the days when you say somebody is a colored person, that's supposed to be offensive. But now a little bit of wordplay by the liberals and it's all accepting people of color. Still, I wonder why white people would accept this, because this just gathers everybody else in the world together and separates everyone else from the white people. And this is the usual identity politics play that the liberal use. But anyway, we're going to be going into this story because the city of Oakland mayor has been branded as a racist for giving families of color $500 a month if they earn under $59,000, with no rules on how they spend it, but offering poor white families nothing. Now, when I dived into this article, I found out that this $500 is not going to be a one-time thing to these 600 families. It is going to be a regular thing for at least a year and a half. And you know what? First off, before I dive into anything and talk about this, I want to first of all say that any of the families that are qualified for this and are taking this $500 a month, I ain't mad at you. There is no way I am going to be saying, hey, don't take this money. You better take that money. But having said that, there are a few things that we need to discuss that may be questionable when it comes to giving money out to only people of color, and you are segregating out white people. Now, can we question whether this is racist or not? Well, I will be talking about that later on this video. I will be telling you what I feel the whole agenda is about when it comes to this particular thing that seems like a good deed for black people or for people of color in general. But before we do any of that, I want to quickly ask you guys to help me out by hitting that like button. I cannot stress enough how well and how much that helps me so much when you hit that like button. Also, why not consider subscribing to the channel? I do a lot of politically related commentaries. I also comment on entertainment related issues like your movies and your musical industries or musical videos or what have you. And if these are the sort of things that you are interested in, you might just want to subscribe to the channel, and I will massively appreciate it. And hopefully today will be the day that I earn your subscription and you hit that red button down below. Now, with that important spiel out the way, let's get straight into the meat and the potatoes of the order of the day. So first off, let's read a little bit into this story. A program to give $500 monthly checks to low-income earners of color in Oakland, California has been criticized for explicitly excluding the 10,000 white residents living in poverty in the city. The lottery system, funded by private philanthropists, I'm guessing white liberals majorly, but that's just my opinion, will see the no-string-attached checks go to households with annual incomes of none less than $59,000 if they have at least one child. The other half of the $500 checks will go to those earning under $30,000. According to the data from an Oakland Equity Indicator Report, as you can see, they're talking about equity. This is why we're going to be talking about equity today. So according to the data from Oakland Equity Indicators Report, cited by officials to justify favoring people of color, white households earn about 3 times that of African American ones. I think I have mentioned this before, but this is the reason why they want to do this. Now, Mayor Scarf told the Associated Press that the reason for limiting eligibility to Black, Indigenous, and other people of color was that white households in Oakland make an average of about 3 times as much as black household. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Because poor people is poor people. Poor people doesn't know color. Now, Mayor Scarf said, we have designed this demonstration project to add to the body of evidence and to begin this relentless campaign to adopt a guaranteed income federally. Now, this leads me to equity over equality. Now, recently you would have seen that the Democrats, they push a lot of leftist agenda and they are very much in support of equity because they believe that some people need a leg up over some other people. Now, they are trying to like switch things. Like back in the days, we used to fight for equality. When it came to the feminism movement, when it first started, it was all about equality for women. Now, when it also came to civil rights, it was all about equality for people that are not white, for black people, for Hispanics, equality, equality, equality. But all that has changed now. Now what they are pushing is equity. Now there is a strong difference between equality and equity. If you simply make a simple Google and go to Google Images, you will find out that there is a way they pit them. It's like a couple of people who want to watch a game of maybe baseball, football over a fence, and you have a really tall guy, a medium heighted guy, and a short person, and you have them trying to see over the fence. So equality in their own context would be you providing them with equal level of boxes for them to stand on. Obviously, the tallest person will still see over the fence. The next person may or may not see over the fence, and the shortest person will not see over the fence at all. So in the sense of equity, why not provide the shortest person with 2 boxes over the other people? But this is where I find a little bit of offense with this equity of a thing. Are you trying to say that black people are dwarfs and will always need that leg up? That is the first offensive thing about that same notion, about that ideology, about that reference, and about that analogy about black people. It is insulting to black people as far as I'm concerned, because you are telling us that we are mentally dwarfed. Then you are telling us that other people are better than us. So in order for you to actually put us on a level playing field, you need to provide us with better boxes. Also, when you look at that analogy, the idea of equality has been misrepresented. Because what real equality is not to provide you with a box, but to actually open a door for you to walk in and pick as many boxes as it suits you to actually climb over so that you can see over the fence. Now, there are a lot of questions about this so-called equity thing. When it comes to equity, the government is the one deciding who gets what. Then that means that everybody's life will be dependent on government, and that way you will not be able to make anything of yourself beyond what the government wants you to become. This is what happens in a socialist system, and if a system is totally socialist, you will have to depend on government for everything. No matter how hard you work or no matter how lazy you work, it is not going to matter. What would matter is if you're white, black, or whatever the government or whatever politics that the government decides to play. Now, having said that, let's move on to the concept of which people decide or which people deserve this. Usually their argument would be that black people are disproportionately poorer than every other race. This is one of the reasons why somebody like Joe Biden made a statement that poor kids are just as smart as white kids, because he was referring to black kids. And the moment he realized what he said, he started saying poor kids are just as smart as white kids, poor kids are just as smart as black kids, poor kids are just as smart as Hispanic kids. Then who are the poor kids? Boy, we all caught him in that racist statement, but I digress. Now, if you try to find out who are the most disproportionately poorest people in America, you will find out that it is black people with about 18.8% or thereabout, followed by the Hispanics with about 15.7%, and then followed by Asian with about 7.3%, as well as white people with about 7.3%. Now, it looks like white people are down below when it comes to disproportionately poor people. But when you look at the numbers itself, America has 328 million people. When you do a quick math with that, you will find out that 17 to 18 million people that are white people are in abject poverty. About 9 million people, Hispanics, are the ones that follow. 9 million people are in poverty as well. And then 8 million people for black people, and then 1 million or thereabout for Asian people. If you put all those BIPOC people together and pit them against white people, it will be sliced right there in the middle. It will be 18 million to white people, and BIPOC people will be 18 million. So the concept of saying that there are more poor people who are blacks then there are more poor people who are whites in America is actually a serious misconception. Now, does that mean that we should disregard the proportionate of people because they are more disproportionate? No, I am not saying that. Absolutely not. What I am saying is that we need to stop treating this problem as if it is a black problem or a white problem. We need to start treating this problem as if it is a people problem, because poverty does not recognize color. If you're poor, you're poor. Yet they still want to treat the black people like as if the black people or the BIPOC people are the only people that are going through some level of poverty or even abject poverty, which is absolutely wrong. Now, this leads me to what reason, why would the Democrats want to do this for the black people? Now, first of all, some people might say it is coming from the benevolence of their mind, but I would like to stop you right there. When it comes to what these people are trying to do, they are strictly playing politics because they know that this is the way that they can win the BIPOC people. Now, why would they want to win the BIPOC people? You do a simple Google search. A simple Google search will show you the demographics of people and their percentage that live in Oakland. When you take a look at that percentage, you will find out that white people in Oakland are still the highest number of people in Oakland with 29%. Black people or African Americans have 22.7%. Hispanics are 17.5%. And Asians are 15.2%, and white Hispanics are 6.06%. Once again, you do a quick maths and qualify every other person as BIPOC. What would that give you? 47% of people in Oakland are BIPOC. So basically, this is them trying to bribe the BIPOC community so that those people will consistently vote for them. It's simply a power grab or a power holding on to. It is as simple as that. Now, the other thing is this. These people usually play identity politics, and this is one of the ways that they brainwash people and cajole people using this leftist identity politics to actually win people over, and a lot of people fall for it. A lot of black people are still falling for it today. Now, I would like to take you guys to the words of the great Malcolm X, because when it comes to these liberals and they want to do something and they start playing this identity politics, I find it very hard to trust them. And the words of Malcolm X will definitely come into play here, because we are seeing this thing live. He said this thing in about 1964, but you will be surprised that these things are still occurring till this day. So what did he say exactly? Malcolm X said, the white liberals who have been posing as our friends have failed us. The white liberals is the worst enemy to America and the worst enemy to the black man. This was back in the days when you say man, you mean human being. When you say man, you mean man, woman, anybody that is a human being. So continuing in his quote, he said, white liberals are those who have perfected the art of selling themselves to black man as our friend to get our sympathy, our allegiance, and our minds. Then he said the white liberals attempt to use us politically against white conservatives so that anything that the black man does is never for his own good, never for his advancement, never for his own progress. He's only a pawn in the hands of the white liberal. And one of the black men that I have seen as an example of this recently would be Ronald Martin. He is a strong liberal, and all in his brain and his mind, he talks about the government, the government, the government, and he's very quick to point out who's a racist and who is not. And recently on a show that he held, he had a young kid of 21 years old guy who actually bought a school to take young black men into, to train them in mannerisms and how to reach out to people, train them on how to read, train them in vocational studies, develop these people and keep them off the streets so that they can get proper jobs for themselves and develop themselves. And guess what this liberal Ronald Martin called this kid? He called him an idiot for wanting to start a program that is called Do It for Self. That is, achieve things by yourself.
We have to get out and go do for self in our own communities. So, okay, so define do for self. When I say do for self, you shared one of my tweets, my videos, and I was actually a big fan of yours, but you shared one of my tweets when I said black people need to stop begging the government and go and do for self out in our communities. You shared the video and called me an idiot. I didn't see anything idiotic about that statement at all.
So when you say do for self, like what? Explain that.
Okay. Okay, for example, here in Albany, Georgia, we complain about our school systems a lot. Many of our young men can't read. They have very horrible literacy rates. We don't have any rehab programs here for juvenile offenders. What I decided to do, I started a program 2 years ago, decided to do for self, and I started taking children into my home. I started taking custody of kids from juvenile court, and I started molding them and training them and teaching them skill trades, etc. Now I'm 21 years old. I just purchased a school here in Albany, Georgia, to combat us being in the government-funded schools that are not teaching our children what they need to learn. So that's what I mean by do for self, simply getting up and going out and do it.
So
I beat the stereotype that I'm young, black, in America, and I can't do anything because somebody's holding me down. Absolutely not.
So a question.
Teenagers went and go ahead. Me and some teenagers went and bought a school, and we just bought a school bus simply from going out and doing work. We decided to go fix our own communities. I'm not expecting anything from no politician. I'm not expecting nothing from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or nobody. We're going to go do it for ourselves, and that's what I believe we need to be doing. I can vote, sure, but nothing's going to change in our community.
So you went to...
Now, this is one of the people that Malcolm X is talking about, that they no longer think about themselves or think about their own people. They think of the party that they have an allegiance with. And no matter what anybody else does, it is evil in their sight. And they will try to brandish you even though it makes them look like a total fool. Absolutely, he was schooled by this young kid because he started talking about parties and Republicans and what have you. And this young kid, his name is Roland King, I think. Roland King told him, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I don't need Trump or Biden to do anything for me. I am just a conservative and you were calling me a Republican, because once you are aligned with the liberals, that's all you think. You think from an angle of a party sense of things. You want to depend on the government consistently. If your entire life depends on the government, they definitely will take control of your life and they will control you. And people like Roland Martins and all of these people who are trying to sell these liberal ideologies and what have you, I think are under that same control. Now, the one last thing I will say about these liberals, these Oakland resilient families, these philanthropists that want to so-called help black people by doling out money for them. If you give a man a fish, you're not helping them. If you teach them how to catch a fish, then you are actually helping them to become self-sustaining. If you are doling out $500 a month for a year and a half, all you're doing is you're cajoling these BIPOC people to consistently continue to vote you. It is a same trick that has been played by liberals for decades, and a lot of people, a lot of BIPOC people, a lot of Black Indigenous people of color always fall for this same trick. They are not planning to help people, and I will not be surprised if this same philanthropists, they have taken those people who are like homeless, who are white people in that place in Oakland as a collateral damage. They will actually put more money into white schools or white dominated schools and spend more money in educating white people while they dish out money to 600 black people for a year and a half, which will be chunk change to millionaires and even billionaires out there. They can afford to do that just to make you think, oh, we are helping you, but they are not actually helping you. After a year and a half, what happens to the family? This is not life-changing money, $500 a month. It's not life-changing money. It is just a money to deceive people, to make them think that these are the people that are coming to help. If they truly, truly wanted to help, they would be investing on creating better schools in Oakland cities, paying for better teacher training, paying for better students training, so that these people can take themselves out of poverty and not have to depend on government to survive. But these are my thoughts regarding this particular topic, but you let me know what you think in that comment section below. I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Now, if you think that I am in my wrong, or maybe my opinions are really off, if you think that the Democrats are truly doing this from the goodness of their heart and this is a benevolent action that would help black people in general, let me know why in the comment section below. Or if you think, man, this is really, really dubious coming from the Democrats, also let me know why you think that. I am so curious to know. Now, before I leave, I want to quickly remind you guys, please, if you have enjoyed this video, please do hit that thumbs up because it massively, massively helps me. I cannot stress that enough. And also do consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to help me out, please do share this video amongst your friends, because people need to get this information information. Recently, one of my friends told me that whenever I upload a video, they're no longer getting notification that I am uploading videos. So I don't know what's happening with YouTube there. Some people aren't getting notifications. So it will massively help the channel, help me out, if you actually share this video amongst your friends, if you found any value in it anyways. Now, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, I'm happy. If you didn't, I still want to thank you for watching up to this point anyways. Now, I've got to be jetting out of here, but I'm going to be talking to you guys real soon. But until then, I would like to say peace and Saya's out. Catch you guys on the next one.